He, quote, hereby orders American companies not to do business with China. And now he's calling the Fed chair an enemy. Also developing, Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg and her new cancer battle revealed, undergoing radiation for a tumor on her pancreas. What it could mean for the future of the court. The triple weather threat tonight from coast to coast. Powerful thunderstorms in the east, a swimmer struck by lightning. In the west, urgent wildfire evacuations. And now a tropical system moving near Florida. Rob Marciano standing by. Crisis in the cabin, a passenger plane filling up with smoke over the Pacific. The pilot declaring an emergency landing, passengers escaping on emergency slides. But why didn't the oxygen masks drop? New reporting just coming in on what could be the first death in the United States linked to vaping, as authorities try to beat back a growing epidemic. The fires raging in the Amazon rainforest, now a global threat. Tonight, the concerns about climate change, Brazil declaring they don't have enough manpower to fight the flames. Our correspondent there on the ground. And a Tesla driver on a busy LA freeway appearing to be asleep at the wheel. Another driver filming it all.
This is ABC World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, and it's great to have you with us on this busy Friday night. I'm Cecilia Vega in for David, and we do begin tonight with President Trump escalating his trade war, just moments ago taking new aggressive action against China. The president furious at Beijing for today imposing tariffs on $75 billion of American goods. And this evening, he fired right back with another tariff hike of his own. He also took aim at the Fed chair, his harshest attack yet, tweeting, "Who is our enemy? Who is our bigger enemy, Jay Powell or Chairman Xi?" The markets responding in real time, the Dow plunging, closing down at 623 points. All of this as President Trump prepares to leave for the G7 summit in France. ABC's Kira Phillips leads us off.
Wall Street today sent reeling after a morning tweet storm from President Trump. The Dow diving 623 points after the president tweeted American companies were, quote, hereby ordered to stop doing business with China. The president has no authority to order private businesses to cut ties with China. And then he took to Twitter again later in the day to joke about the stock market plunge. For American farmers like Greg Hora in Iowa, none of this is funny. China today announcing retaliatory tariffs on $75 billion of American goods, including pork. But even before that, the trade war was hitting him hard.
Pig farmers are currently losing about $25 to $30 per pig, and the future of the next 6 months does not look very optimistic.
Earlier this week, I asked the president about warning signs that the trade war could lead this country into a recession.
Taking America into a recession, is it worth it? And do Americans need to back that up?
This is a trade war that should have taken place a long time ago by a lot of other presidents. I am the chosen one. Somebody had to do it, so I'm taking on China.
Still, with his eye on re-election, the president declares the economy, quote, fantastic, blaming any uncertainty on his own hand-picked Fed chairman, Jay Powell.
He's strong, he's committed, he's smart.
But Trump is now attacking Powell for not further lowering interest rates. Today, Powell saying the trade war seems to be playing a role in the global slowdown and in weak manufacturing and capital spending in the United States. The president quickly firing back, asking, who is our bigger enemy, Jay Powell or Chairman Xi?
And Kira Phillips joins us now live from the White House. So, Kira, the president leaves tonight for the G7 summit in France, where he's expected to get an earful from world leaders on the economy, but not before firing another big shot in this trade war.
That's right. President Trump just announced, Cecilia, he's raising tariffs on $250 billion of Chinese goods to 30%. The trade war escalating dramatically today. And as for the impact on American consumers, well, that's still unknown. But even before today's moves, J.P. Morgan predicted the president's tariffs will cost American families an additional $1,000 a year. Cecilia.
Kira Phillips leading us off tonight. Thank you. To tonight's other breaking headline, new concerns about the health of Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Today we learned Justice Ginsburg underwent cancer treatment for a pancreatic tumor. The 86-year-old with a history of cancer completing 3 weeks of radiation therapy. ABC senior national correspondent Terry Moran with the latest on her condition.
Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg diagnosed late last month with a cancerous tumor on her pancreas and undergoing 3 weeks of outpatient radiation treatment at Memorial Sloan Kettering Hospital in New York City. In a statement, the Supreme Court press office described the tumor as localized and added it was treated definitively and there is no evidence of disease elsewhere in the body. This is Justice Ginsburg's fourth bout with cancer. Last December, she underwent surgery for lung cancer. In 2009, she had surgery for pancreatic cancer. And in 1999, she was treated for colon cancer.
25, 24.
But the 86-year-old Ginsburg is famously resilient. When she missed oral arguments in January after her lung surgery, it was the first time in 25 years. And during her treatment this month, she kept up a busy schedule in New York, including a visit to the theater, where she met Kate McKinnon of Saturday Night Live, who often portrays the justice on the show.
You just got Ginsburned.
Though conservatives have long anticipated her departure from the court, Justice Ginsburg seems to revel in her longevity.
There was a senator after the pancreatic cancer who announced with great glee that I was going to be dead within 6 months. That senator, whose name I've forgotten, is now himself dead. And I am very much alive.
Well, Terry Moran joins us from the Supreme Court. And Terry, the court reconvenes in October. The big question tonight, will Justice Ginsburg be there on the bench?
Right now, Cecilia, all the signs point to yes, Justice Ginsburg will be back at work here. Her doctors say she needs no further treatment right now. She's got a busy schedule in September. She hasn't canceled any of those events. And she told students last month at Duke University Law School that she intends to stay on the court, quote, as long as I can do it, full steam. Cecilia?
Terry Moran at the Supreme Court tonight. Thank you. We'll turn now to the dangerous triple weather threat as we head into this weekend. Severe storms from the plains to the East Coast. Powerful thunderstorms lighting up the sky in Birmingham, Alabama. And 51 large wildfires burning in the west, forcing thousands to evacuate. The mountain fire there destroying several homes in Bella Vista, California. And our team is now tracking a new system off Florida that could become a tropical depression. Here's ABC's senior meteorologist, Rob Marciano.
Tonight, that strong front triggering more damaging and dangerous weather. A swimmer struck by lightning in North Carolina. This after severe storms tore through the New York metro area Thursday night. On Long Island, winds gusting above 60 miles per hour, toppling trees and knocking out power to thousands. The wall of this storage facility collapsing as the system moved through, cinder blocks crashing down onto the parking lot.
You see the many cars that were damaged here knocking out the windows.
And at the Mets-Indians game, fans warned to shelter in covered areas. The game called early in the 8th inning after 2 rain delays, totaling more than 3 hours. Outside Phoenix, authorities aiding more than 3 dozen hikers after several were overcome by heat. In Northern California, more than 500 personnel battling the mountain fire, already burning at least 600 acres amid dry and gusty conditions. 1,000 homes threatened, with no rain in the forecast for at least a week.
Okay, so let's get right to Rob with the forecast. Hi, Rob.
Hi, Cecilia. You know, this front that caused all that weather is barely making it past the Mason-Dixon line, typical August stuff, but we have severe thunderstorm watches again tonight on the radar. You can see it in Virginia and North Carolina with a number of warnings as well. Now, the back end of this front kind of snakes into the high plains, and we've got severe thunderstorm watches there up until 10 o'clock local time, just east of Denver. Some heavy rain with these as well as they push into the flash flood watches. Of what might be greater concern are the tropical features in the Atlantic. One way out there, one real close, just off the shore of Miami. That one, we think, the National Hurricane Center is saying it's probably going to become a depression or a named storm over the weekend, and then skirt the coastlines of Georgia and the Carolinas with, at the very least, wind, heavy rain, and big-time waves, and it will be uncomfortably close to the coastlines of those states. We'll have to watch it very carefully. Cecilia?
Busy weekend for you and the team. Okay, Rob, thanks. We'll turn next tonight to those frightening moments as a passenger plane makes an emergency landing in Hawaii. Smoke filling the cabin in the last 20 minutes of the flight from Oakland to Honolulu. 7 people hospitalized. That smoke coming from a faulty engine seal. So why didn't the plane's oxygen masks deploy? Here's ABC's senior transportation correspondent, David Curley.
With all that smoke, the nearly 200 Hawaiian Airlines passengers tonight are calling their flight frightening.
It was a very, very terrifying moment, and I thought I was going to die.
Just 20 minutes before landing in Hawaii, an acrid smoke.
And the cabin just filled up with smoke. So we just all had to kind of go like this to breathe.
The pilots got a warning of smoke in the cargo hold. Not knowing whether or where there might be fire, they decided not to deploy the oxygen masks, which could feed a fire. But they do declare an emergency.
Hawaiian 47, visual full-ride emergency aircraft. We will be evacuating on the runway.
The emergency personnel are standing by.
Everybody on board was very, very nervous. Babies and children were crying and screaming.
On the ground, the slides deployed for a quick evacuation of passengers. 7 people, including 2 children, rushed to the hospital for smoke inhalation. Hawaiian Airlines saying an engine seal failed and hot oil burned and bled into the air system.
Quite a scene there, and David joins us now live from Reagan National Airport. David, this was just 20 minutes before the landing. What would have happened had this been earlier in the flight when they were over the Pacific?
Cecilia, no pilot wants smoke in the aircraft. They would have to diagnose where that smoke was coming from and from an engine, which engine, and shut off the bleed air that goes into the cabin from that engine. Tonight, Hawaiian Airlines sincerely apologizing to all those passengers, Cecilia.
David Curley, thank you. We'll turn now to a growing health alert. Tonight, authorities investigating what could be the country's first death linked to vaping. An Illinois patient dying from a severe respiratory infection. The question tonight, are e-cigarettes to blame? Here's Gio Benitez.
Tonight, a stern warning from the Illinois Department of Public Health. Someone who had been vaping died after being hospitalized with severe respiratory illness. The department saying, quote, using e-cigarettes and vaping can be dangerous. Just in the past week, experts say 22 people in Illinois, 17 to 38 years old, have experienced respiratory illness after using e-cigarettes and vaping, with symptoms ranging from cough to shortness of breath to fatigue. They are still looking into where these devices were obtained and what was in them.
There are many things we don't know about the ingredients in e-cigarettes.
This on the same day that public health officials in Ohio announced that 6 people there experienced severe pulmonary illness after vaping. Earlier this week, we saw this disturbing scene of a Texas teenager in a coughing fit on a ventilator just to breathe. After admitting to years of vaping, he was in a medically induced coma for 10 days, but survived. And Cecilia, the CDC and the FDA are now investigating at least 193 possible cases of severe lung illness in e-cigarette users across 22 states since June. They're trying to determine what role, if any, vaping may have played in those illnesses. Cecilia?
Okay, Gio, thank you. Now to the stunning images setting off alarms around the world tonight. Wildfires raging through the Amazon rainforest. Brazil saying it does not have enough manpower to fight these flames. And NASA tonight releasing imagery of a carbon monoxide plume currently over the Amazon. The rainforest is responsible for 20% of the world's oxygen supply. French President Emmanuel Macron declaring our house is burning. ABC's Matt Gutman on the ground there in Sao Paulo.
Tonight, Brazil's catastrophic fires smoldering into an international battle. And France's President Emmanuel Macron tweeting, our house is burning, directly blaming the record fires in the Amazon on Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro's environmental policy. Bolsonaro, often called the Trump of the tropics, has accused, without evidence, Brazilian NGOs of starting the fires, even mocking a journalist when asked what he should do about it. More than 76,000 fires have ignited in Brazil since the crisis began, a new fire starting every minute or so. The vast majority believed to be set by farmers trying to clear land. From the air, the lines of fire chewing up the forest. The area of smoke so large it is visible from space and could blanket half the United States, from Detroit to Los Angeles. The Amazon produces 20% of the planet's oxygen and helps regulate its temperature. The fire is casting a shroud over South America's biggest city, Sao Paulo, earlier this week. Tonight, President Trump offering U.S. assistance as Brazil's president says he will deploy the military to the Amazon.
And Matt Gutman joins us live from Sao Paulo. Matt, there have been mixed messages from Brazil's president on these fires. He's accusing critics of sensationalism while also saying he doesn't have enough firefighters to attack these flames.
And Cecilia, Bolsonaro may have gone a long way towards refining that message tonight by deploying the military not only to fight the fires, but also to prevent farmers.